Welcome back. You're still watching the markets, and the summary announcement on Truth Social by Donald Trump has created an impact on various sectors of the Indian economy, while a few sectors which are connected to the global front are facing the heat, but at the same time sectors like consumption, FMCG are also still showing signs of momentum. But the biggest heat as we see is on the textile space. To talk large on that, we have Dhananjay Sinha, co-head of Equities Systematix Group. Dhananjay, thank you so much for giving your time to ET Now. Good morning. Mansi, this side. India's gems, jewellery and textile industry have been jolted by the United States' sudden announcement of the 25% tariff on penalty as well as penalty on the Indian exports. Now, the decision has disrupted ongoing business, with stakeholders expressing their concerns over blocked orders and halted production. Your first take on this development?
So I think there has been a sort of an imposition of about 25% tariff, and we don't know what's the impact of the penalty. So clearly, it does create a disadvantage for Indian exports, including the textile sector. I think the textile sector is important because it does provide a lot of employment to Indian people. So I think that is a sensitive sector. See, I think this dilly-dallying on the tariff has been an ongoing thing. I think we have to really weigh it against the competition that we have, especially with respect to Vietnam and China. So, with respect to Vietnam, garmenting is something that we directly compete with them, and they have good amount of capability, etc. With respect to the cost, they are sort of 10% lower on average. And I think with the tariff, there is a 5% additional tariff differential that happens relative to Vietnam. So relatively, there is a 15% disadvantage for the Indian manufacturing sector in the garmenting space. I think that is a disadvantage for Indian companies. And I would say that, the home textile, we directly compete with China, and there I think there is relatively lesser impact. By and large, I would say, there is a sort of a higher tariff, which implies that there will be a sort of a impact on the overall demand side as well in the US markets, because the cost of textile and garments, etc., will sort of increase. So that sort of diminishes the sort of demand side to some extent, and relative to the tariff differential, we'll have to see. But it's a kind of a mix of things. Generally, I would say the home textile segment is less impacted than the garmenting segment.
But in terms of the companies, Dhananjay, if possible, and can you help us understand that which companies will be impacted the most because of this particular announcement? And along with that, what's your overall take that how are you planning to adjust the earnings estimate in the times ahead?
So I think, the volume growth will have an impact, and there are certain companies that will get impacted more. Intercount is one company that we are looking at. Then we have Welspun as well, and Pearl Global. These are some of the companies that are in the garmenting space that can get impacted more adversely. Intercount and Welspun, Pearl Global, KPR, and Gokuldas are in the garmenting space. They are a little lesser impacted. So I would say we'll have to make a differential between the home textile and the garmenting space. So I think that is how one can consider this. By and large, it's kind of adverse for the overall textile space.
Agree, and I hear you there. The industry was expecting an extension of the tariff deadline, but the announcement has now casted uncertainty at present. Let's see if there is some negotiations which happen in August. But Dhananjay, thank you so much for your views on the tariff front, the implication, as well as the textile sector overall. Thanks, and have a nice day.